Good afternoon and welcome to Power Talk, Powerbidding.com's voice of reason.
Non-reason.
But
no reason.
We are the number one trusted source to buy and sell online.
Yes.
They still love us, I guess.
I mean, they hang out with us and they just cheer us on and they love everything we do. Or nothing we do.
I mean, they're here when we get here and they're here when we leave, so I don't know.
How was your weekend, Chuck?
It was good. Did a little bit of boating, had a little bit of prop trouble, in the sense that I hit it on a tree, which bends your prop and makes it troublesome. But it's been dropped off at the prop doctor and he's going to straighten it out. He was glad to see me again today.
Again? How many times has he seen your prop?
In the last 12 years of boating at this lake, once.
Oh, okay.
I've never really had any problems, but I bit one up a couple weeks ago, about a month ago, and he fixed it, and he recognized me today, which I want to be friendly and a nice guy, but I don't want him to know me by name. Oh, look, you're the dummy that keeps bending your shit up. So, dropped it off, he'll have it done on Thursday, so that was fine. How about you? What'd you do?
No AC the weekend. So,
well, it was only 100 degrees
Only
here.
100 degrees, and the AC goes out on Friday afternoon. So, it was actually very good because our basement was very cool, and we camped out and watched movies and camped in the house.
All right.
Watching movies.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Oh, let's give a quick review of last Tuesday. You don't know what you did on Tuesday last week?
I don't know what I did 2 hours ago, let alone last Tuesday.
Well, I went and saw Joan Jett and the Blackhearts,
Oh, yes.
Poison, Motley Crue, and Def Leppard, and I know you were there too.
I was there. That was reliving youth.
Absolutely.
It was a lot of fun, and it was not hot enough. What was really funny was we decided I wanted to be fashionably late, so we get there fashionably late, and there's a young lady who was sick. They called over the ambulances and all the people, the medics, and they come over and they start wheeling her up into the front and getting her through. And then I happened to see said lady roaming around about an hour later, just having a grand old time. I was like, that's slick.
They gave her some refreshments. That was fun. It was a good time. It reminds me of my youth, cruising in cars and loud music, and I've always had a stereo that went to 12 instead of just 10, so partly the reason I don't hear as well, but Joan Jett, Poison, and Motley Crue always turns it up, and my head was ringing for the whole 2 days afterwards, but it was a good time, and cars, I have the same theory about cars. It's a time and a place, and something you did, and maybe a memory, maybe a girl, maybe a car that really ran good, or a race you might have won when you were out illegally street racing. Oh, that doesn't happen.
Allegedly.
You know, high school drags, just time and a place. Music, cars, all that stuff, bring you back to a time and a place.
Sure. And that's what they're all memories, and everybody loves to buy memories.
Yep, and well, we just happen to be at the place that you can buy memories
And sell
memories and do it securely, because we have the third-party inspection, and we'll help you get the car to you, and we have some bank financing and lots of good stuff like that. And
speaking of it, if you like the podcast that we give us a big thumbs up.
Yeah, like us, follow us. We'll get you some more of this
prostitute ourselves out now.
Great stuff that we're selling here. But yeah, definitely smash that like button.
Smash the like button, give us some love, and tell us what you think, what you don't think, or just tell us anything. We don't care.
And follow us.
Tell us how you like the concerts. If you didn't like the concert, if you went, we don't care. Just let us know.
One time, a long time ago, I went to a Chiefs game in the same stadium. It kind of reminds me of this. And I was in the business, and we had bought, it was a Boattail Riviera that somebody had turned into a 4-wheel drive, and it had big 38-inch tires on it. And my wife hated it, and I thought it was the best thing ever. It was kind of beige. It was fun. It had big tires on it. And not everybody ever has these experiences, but once you've driven something with really big tires on it, like a truck is one thing. Driving a car with big tires on it that really up there, you can't see in the passenger lane. You can't see over there because it still has those little mirrors.
Yeah.
But I pulled into the Chiefs Arrowhead Stadium, and people are like, "Yeah, it's so cool." My wife's like sliding down underneath the seat. "Hey, what have you seen?" I'm having the best time ever.
Yeah.
So,
well, what else we got going on? What's new in the news?
Oh, what did I see? Dodge is going to release a 909 horsepower Charger. Is in the works.
900. 700 that they have now.
909 was
909.
709 was not, or was it 702?
707.
707. And that wasn't enough. And then
No.
the red eye got the 8.
Yeah.
And now there's going to be a black eye is going to be 900 horsepower.
Sure.
Yes, I don't
sure.
know. But
Sure.
they're in the works there. What else have I seen?
Now, is that going to be regular combustion engine, or are they going? Rumor had it that they were going to do some type of electric deal. Did you read that?
It was just a blurb, is what I saw about it. Didn't give much information. They're just gonna change the pulley on the supercharger and make it another horsepower. There's no electric shit on that. Come on, this is American horsepower, baby, not a battery pack.
When are they going to do it? The Pacifica. That's what I want.
They do it in everything anyway. The Jeeps, the SUVs, everything. You can get that motor in about everything if you want to pay for it.
I mean, that's.
I mean, we know a guy who's got one. He calls it himself the old man hot rod.
And it sounds like a hot rod. They sound good.
They do. It's a lot of horsepower.
That horsepower, that sound, that you can hear it coming down the street. And
it's funny because it cries. And I watched a video. It's been a little while, but it was a car and it was beaten up on a Hellcat, and you could hear it. This other car is pulling away from it, and you can hear the Hellcat whining. I thought that's exactly what it sounds like when it's in your review mirror and you're leaving it. And if you think you've heard it now, you've heard that whine in the supercharger, you know what it sounds like. You're like, it is saying no. I just thought that was hilarious when I heard it. But that's going on. What else did I see? Ford Raptor's getting ready to release the Raptor R.
That's big news.
Yeah, well, is it?
Yeah. There's a lot of people like the Raptor.
You're right. I like Molly Crew.
I'm from Texas. Everybody likes their trucks.
I get it.
Yeah.
Excess, just like the song "The Dirt." Let's take it to the top and watch it burn.
Right. Well, they're finally putting a real engine in it. I read that.
Yeah, they're putting a GT motor in it. So the 5.2 supercharged GT motor.
Yeah.
So it should run well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no punk, so.
No, and it'll run over a couple of dunes and
do something.
have fun doing it.
There's one run around here town. It's been wrapped, but it's white and it's been wrapped, and it's wrapped in gator skin. So it looks like it's been wrapped in gator skin. I've never touched it, so I don't know if it's textured, but when you look at the tailgate, it goes up and it looks like alligator skin, white alligator skin, and I will say it looked pretty cool. I wrapped my stuff in alligator skin. Pretty cool.
I actually took a trade-in once when the guy had his Impala SS with some alligator in it.
Really?
In the seats, yeah.
That was probably a real alligator.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was ostrich. That was ostrich.
All right, real or embossed?
Real stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. Here's a funny story.
Yeah.
I was at the gas station in Kinston, Missouri today, and I have a little diesel Audi, and I'm putting fuel in it, and this guy pulls in, and he's got this big F-250 with big tires on it and mud flaps, and Hispanic fellow, and he sees me getting diesel, and he goes, "Diesel?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "It gets good gas mileage." He looks, he goes, "Really?" I said, 40 miles per gallon usually. He goes, "Hey, I need one of those."
Although I think the big news is that gas is under $4 here.
Well, diesel's under $4.99, but it's under $5. Diesel has been under $5 for a long time.
I mean, that's I think a very good thing, probably the biggest thing, because if you can get gas to a semi-reasonable level, everybody gets a little more relaxed, things start flowing a little better, literally gas starts flowing.
In the past, people talk about gas, and I think, 5 cents, 10 cents, even 20 cents is not changing most people's lives.
Yeah.
And it does some, and probably not the people who are listening to us, but I get it, and that makes sense, but people get real worked up about it. And then if you just sit down for a second and you write it down, you think about it, well, we're really talking about $3 over a week. And I can't.
For some people, it depends on,
you're right, it depends what you're driving.
Yeah, but how much you're driving.
I mean, 10 cents doesn't, 10 cents, unless you're pumping 50 gallons, it's not really that big a deal. I mean, right. I'm thankful enough that even $5, $8 doesn't make a change in my life. Now the way diesel's been, putting $70 worth of diesel in my little car hurts my feelings. I don't drive a big truck,
It's,
so.
yeah, when you're used to putting in $30 or $40, and then all of a sudden it's $60, $70.
If I was totally empty, it was 32 in the old
Yeah,
days. So.
right. And that makes a difference for a lot of people. And the problem is the people that it makes a difference for. You know, and you got to think about, well, should I drive somewhere?
Yeah.
Is this trip worth
Absolutely.
it? And that's what they want us to do, because they don't want people driving it, unnecessarily and burning up gas and all the fossils and everything else that come out of the ground. But they, the people that it affects the most are the people that it shouldn't affect the most.
You're right. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the bad thing.
Yeah, I have a boat in a Suburban, so I can tell you all about getting my feelings hurt on weekends.
Yeah, it's tough when you have those problems that, it's so expensive to put gas in my boat.
Well, I've turned into way more of a floater than a boater. we go to one place at the lake and throw the anchor, and that's where we're staying for the day.
Yeah.
So.
And then paddle back.
No, I'll drive it back unless I hit a tree with my prop, and then I just kind of blah, 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 blah. But I'm the one who wanted the bigger boat, so.
Right. And, that Raptor deal, though, back to that, I'm kind of amazed, speaking of gas, that Ford decided to go with the V8. They were all pumped up on the EcoBoost. They're all, this is the way we got to do it now. I guess.
Well, we all know how I feel about the EcoBoost. So.
I guess they figured out that a lot of people feel like Chuck does and wanted a real engine.
Supposed to have a V8
Wanted a
engine.
real engine.
I'm not saying the other one doesn't do its job. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I know it makes a lot of horsepower. It's just like the Prowler. Should have had a V8. The Ford GT. The old V8s were monsters, and the new V6 is fine. And it's a beautiful, wonderful car. But it's supposed to have a V8. Or a 12. Or even a 10 for that matter.
Something legitimate.
Excess is best.
But so I just found that amazing. I was like, wow, they really. And I saw some interview. They had one of the guys from SVT or something on there, and they were talking about, well, it's just time now with this set of da 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 da. I'm like, yeah, you probably realized you screwed the pooch on the first time.
Did you see what happened to the Prowler? They don't make those anymore. So.
Yeah. All right. So, and what else? Speaking of horsepowers, what else coming off the line?
Oh, that hypercar, the electric hypercar.
Navara.
Is it a Navara? I thought it was called something else. It's a Pininfarina design, isn't it? Did I read that?
Yeah,
1900 horsepower.
Yeah. 0 to 60 in I think 1.8 seconds.
Does that run on Duracells?
It does.
That's 1700 horsepower. I mean, that should.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a fast. What'd you say? A fast go kart.
It's a really fast golf cart.
Yeah. That's a really fast golf cart.
It is. It absolutely is.
And that's incredible. 1.8. At some point, when did the tires not stick? How fast is
Well,
that?
I'm sure they're there. It's got to be peeling up the pavement at that.
Right, but I mean, at some point, the physics of just the tires.
Well,
and we have to be. I thought we were close to there already at about like 2.5 seconds or something, but I guess
well, look what a top fuel dragster will do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 0 to 100 in less than a second. So.
Yeah.
But that's 10,000.
Well, that was, I think,
horsepower.
the other thing. They said they had 300 kilometers or something. So you're 200 and a little over 200 horsepower. 200 miles per hour. And I think 9 seconds.
You know what I can hear if you're driving that car? I can hear the Hellcat whining in the background.
And the Dodge people going, we gotta get more horses.
We need to make it skinny is what they need
We
to do.
need more pulleys.
Yeah, we need more pulleys, more tires, maybe not so much interior.
No, yeah. Pull more out of it.
You can throw horsepower at it all day long, but let's be obvious, a Charger's a fat car.
That whole physics thing. Again.
Yeah.
That whole physics thing. It's going to be interesting to see how many of those. I hadn't heard about how many of those actually. Because I'm
just
just
say
I
they're-
think 100 or 200.
Yeah, I mean, how many do you need really? Right? It's
A couple million dollars.
It's $1.99 million, so that's out of my budget. Speaking of that other statistic, 12% of new car payments are over $1,000. Wonder what a payment is on a 1.99 $1 car is.
You've got to ask. You can't afford it.
It's true. Well, you don't have to put gas in it, so you're saving money there.
Yeah, saving the environment.
Yeah, and you're not changing the oil.
No. Yeah.
I mean, look at the savings. It's stacking up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably almost free. You're probably gonna save so much money going that fast that it'll pay itself off in like a year.
Yeah. Maybe. maybe 12 months, 13 months.
Maybe 12 lifetimes.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's just amazing too. You know that this cars
The
get
technology
more
is absolutely amazing.
well,
Absolutely.
Well, that, but the cars get the payment deal, and cars are getting more and more expensive, more and more expensive. Just a regular old extended cab pickup truck, you know, you're 40, 50 grand.
Oh, you're on the wrong side of 50 pretty much, unless it's a basic.
Yeah,
And then you
that's
can't
what I'm
get that
saying,
anyway.
just a regular pickup truck
Absolutely.
that are allegedly a lot cheaper to build than the other stuff.
Allegedly. Speaking of things that are alleged, are we gonna open the Pandora's box of smoke and mirrors about auctions?
Yeah, there was
The magic of the
the
auction.
magic of the auction.
Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, you know, I think that now's a good time to get into that and talk about things that happen at auctions, things that
Or people that believe that it's an absolute sale.
yeah, there's a lot of sleight of hand that goes
Twist
on.
of fate.
Twist of fate, illusions.
Illusions. Look over here. Not over here. Over here. Not over here.
Yeah, you know, we were talking about the auction business is a strange game. And
No, it's not strange. It's straight up thieving sometimes. And we're not saying anybody who's doing it or who's not doing it, or I mean honestly, I've seen it at dealer sales.
I've seen just as much at dealer sales as any place. And I think I've had to start. I was literally bidding against a trash can one day.
Absolutely,
And
you were.
I'm the only one in there, and he's telling me to look at him. Look at me, keep your eyes on me. And I finally look over, and I'm like, the trash can's bidding against me.
Yeah, it's that's a horrible moment when you look up and you're like, wait a minute, I'm the only one in here.
And the bid keeps going higher and higher and higher and higher. Yeah, we had
And-
technical difficulties today.
No, it's not. It's back. And it's not. So, and then people who bid on cars tend to like to hide too,
Yeah.
which is the thing, especially at the dealer sales. Everybody likes to hide. Nobody wants to be seen.
No.
Because sometimes, and if you've done this long enough, you've bought cars long enough. At least in the olden days, I haven't been doing it for the last year or so. But somebody sees you and they don't want you to have that car. They're going to try and outbid you. And I'm guilty of it too. There was a time where we controlled Corvettes in this city, and we did. If there's a Corvette, you were going to pay for it, or I'm going to own it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sometimes. And we did the same thing with Z3s because we sold a ton of BMWs. We had a store right next to the BMW store, and Z3s were our bread and butter, and we could sell them all day long and twice on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
And if there was one in my local market, I had to own it, or you had to pay out the nose for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just protecting the market at the time. We did that, and yeah.
It's a very interesting dynamic, and there's a lot of people, even some dealers that go into a dealer auction and they're just completely lost and have no clue.
Yeah.
And it takes a while to learn all of the ins and outs of
Absolutely.
a dealer
And
auction,
then-
especially when that thing's going that fast. Those guys are just, how does it go?
Sold to you, sir, right there in the front row. What happened?
I can't even tell you how many times I've had to, like, what did he just say? Where are we at?
Yeah.
You don't know.
In Manheim, Pennsylvania, and this has been a couple years ago when I go up there, we'd cover the Mercedes sale, the Jag sale. We bought cars for a lot of people. And the Mercedes sale, they would literally sell a Mercedes, an off-lease Mercedes, in no more than 5 bids. By the time you got in there, they'd give an opening bid, and people knew what they wanted to pay. And they had lights on both sides of the door, so because it was so loud in there, the driver couldn't hear. So, I mean, boom, boom, they hit the buzzers, the lights would come, the car's leaving, and they're like, sold. You're like, I don't even know what happened. I don't know where we started. I don't even know where we ended up.
Yeah.
But they come in, they make the announcements, and boom, boom, boom. But they were running 500 cars a day there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to an auction where they ran 18,000 cars in one day.
20 seconds, 30 seconds of cars in and out, sold to somebody else and moving on down the road.
And once you get used to the dealer sale and how fast it moves, you go to a classic car sale, you're like,
Somebody shoot me.
I'm going to be here all day long. Yes, you are if you're waiting on a
Is this
car.
what, about 2-3 minutes per car going through?
Oh, well, it depends how many cars they got to sell that day.
It depends what kind of train wreck the auction is got into.
It depends how many times you got to back that train out. How many cars you said you're going to run that day? I mean, because auction companies will have, 9B.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a 9A, and sometimes there's a 9C. So that's 3 cars on that one number, but that's the way their computers will take it and book it. And when somebody's mad, they give them that number or something like that. So that's why they got those numbers. And nobody ever gets 9. It's always 101 or 102, but that was just for instance.
Well, and you get people that bring in stuff in later, they get slid in, and a little preferential treatment to some people who sell a lot of cars. There's some really good customers that have bought a whole ton of cars, want to sell something
Absolutely.
at the last minute. They're going to get a little treatment.
I can tell you when I was doing a lot of cars, wholesale,
Mm-hmm.
I'd call my girl on Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning and say, hey, I'm bringing 2 cars. She'd be like, I'll get your number.
Yeah.
And she would.
Oh.
Below 30.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I bought her nice things.
Yeah.
I bought her like
It helps.
Yes.
It helps. It helps to know
a
that
little
people
gift
at
card
auction,
for a nice
little-
dinner.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they never tell me no.
No. That you get a lot of help and a lot of things that you need to do to make the sale, and that's really all the auctions are about. Is trying to make a sale.
Yeah.
So as much as the flim flam and all the stuff that goes on,
Flim flam.
flim flam.
There's no flim flam here.
The rigmarole. All of that. The whole point of it is to take a car from one person and put it in another person's hands.
Yeah.
Whether it be dealers, whether it be individuals, it's trying to put a deal together.
Mhm.
And all of the all that is, and all the people, the guys raising their hand and pulling, hey, all is that is to coordinate a buyer and a seller to put them together and transfer ownership of this vehicle.
I'm going to spill a little bit of beans here that most people don't ever get if they've gone to a big auction house anywhere
Mhm.
and they start the auction on a car and all the ringmen say we're going to start the video at $10,000. Would you bid 10? Would you bid 10? We had 12. We got 12 there. And you go 13, and every ringman in the room raises their hand. Yeah. That's because they
Didn't just have 20 people
no,
bid
20 people
13,000.
didn't. No, they were turned on. The
Mhm.
auctioneer sent out a code, and usually it's something of the nature of put them at.
Mm-hmm.
So I said put them at 12 grand, and they all raise their hand because they heard put them at, or they all have call signs.
Mm-hmm.
We use Gummy Bear because I know a guy named Ringman named Gummy Bear. That means you're turned on. That means you keep going with your customer that might be the trash can until he turns you off
Mm-hmm.
or until the reserve is met.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing about auctions is until the reserve is met, the car's for sale, everything that happens up to then doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any legal boundaries
No.
until after that point.
And it's so amazing too, in dealer auctions and the classic auctions, just about any auction. It's amazing how many people, I'm gonna steal this car, I'm gonna steal it.
Oh, no, you're not.
No, it's not going to happen that way. And so everybody waits to the very, very bottom. And that's what that's what everybody's trying to do, is just let's get this deal going. This car that's supposed to be $25,000 is not selling at $12,000. It's not selling at $15,000.
Well,
and the reserve is set probably somewhere so far away from that it's finally like, let's just get this ball rolling.
mm-hmm.
And that's all it is getting the ball
You can't do it.
rolling.
You can't start a $30,000 car at $5 grand.
I love it at the dealer auctions when you're sitting there and all the dealers are sitting there looking at each other like, I don't want to be the dumbass to start bidding now if this is too much.
But see, I've started bidding a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes, especially if it's a car I need,
Mm-hmm.
I'll give 25 grand for it. And there's like, and the auction will be like, I got 25, and I've got a bid. I'm not backing up. I got 25, sold. And everybody's like, huh, huh.
Yeah. And because they think it's I'm going to get it at 22.
Yeah, they just open it up at that. That's not what it is.
It's not going to happen. It's not
I mean,
going to
and
happen.
sometimes it does. And it's a different day in the auction business. When I started the auction business, you went to the auction on Tuesdays and Wednesdays because there might be something there that you need. Maybe there's not, but there might be a deal. And in the business of buying and selling cars, your money's always made on your buy.
Yeah.
Always made on your buy. And I trugged my happy butt through auctions in the freezing, coldest, shittiest of days that you can imagine, the hottest of days. I've been out in a parking lot in Manheim, Pennsylvania that they have 18 to 20,000 cars on the lot, and I'm walking out there looking for a car. You know, one maybe I bought because they put them everywhere because they have so many of them. And I was always, well, you know, if you're in a big enough car auction, you always hear a car alarm going off. It's just like the sound of home. But you're walking through the car lot and there's a car just randomly running. It's stacked in the middle of 100 of them, but it's just and you think to yourself, why is that car running? What, who, why? Is somebody ever going to turn it off, or is it just going to run out of gas? Probably, yeah. And
is it going to blow up if I turn it off? I mean, should I turn it off?
There's probably a room sending unit in it, and it runs out of gas. I don't know.
Yeah, the porter's going to be pissed because the battery was dead, and now it won't start back up again. What's amazing too is that, you know, like you said, and I'd go out and check them out before, and you have to. I mean, you have to go out and check them out before, and I would try to get in as early as possible to check things out. And it was amazing how many times I'd come back with a different car that I went out and checked out, and all of a sudden the dash is lit up like a Christmas tree, and there's all these. That wasn't like that when I first came out there.
Those are special auction people that do
Those are
cars.
really, and it's amazing how dealers. They do the stupidest little things to try to get some little advantage.
Scum of the earth, a lot
Some of them are very not so honorable people that.
Well, if you take two plug wires and switch them around, it might take me a week to figure that out.
Yeah.
Where they're going to buy it, take it home, and switch it back, and everything's fine.
And the problem is, all you're doing is affecting the customer later on. I mean, it's just more of a hassle for everybody, and it's just kind of ridiculous.
The biggest change in the auction industry is online.
Yeah.
There's, like I said, I used to go when it was crappy and rainy, and some dealers didn't want to go out there when it was raining sideways or snowing sideways, and you knock the snow off it, and sometimes you get a great deal because nobody else wanted to be out there doing that stuff. But now people buy stuff online and they'll buy whatever, and it's the market's stronger as a whole because of that.
Yeah,
and you're not stealing anything anymore.
No, it's a lot harder to buy. It was a lot fun 20, 30 years ago being at an auction and just get some great deal. You're like, yes!
You get a haircut, a beer, and a great deal on a car. Best Wednesday ever.
Oh, you just have so much fun doing it. So much fun doing it. And now you come back and you're like, why did I pay so much for this car? Well, because there's 8,000 other people online also bidding on things.
We used to go to the Mercedes sale in St. Louis, and they had an omelet person. They'd come and make you a wicked good breakfast before the sale started. And for lunch, they'd have prime rib and whatever you wanted. They roll out the red carpet. I'm like, we always were the Mercedes sale, just for the food.
Yeah. The extra little alcoholic beverages at night sometimes.
Yeah, they'll take care of you.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, but the auction business, like I said, has changed so much, and it's amazing how, I mean, everything. 20 years ago, I started selling cars online, and I was like, what? People buy cars online?
It's not just eBay anymore.
It's not just, it's just crazy. And so now everything's got
Powerbidding.com.
Now we have Powerbidding, so that, the whole point of that is try to alleviate all the flim-flam auction.
Take the bullshit out of the equation?
Yeah, try to take it to where it's all above board instead of, you as a buyer do not have to go through all of the hoops and the hassles and the just crap.
Well, you have a biased person looking at this car for you.
Yeah.
And so you buy with a little bit more confidence. And this is not going to be for everybody. There's some people that have to touch the things they buy.
Absolutely.
And that's fine. And as I've learned in the auction industry for years and years and years, even when you put your fingers on it, it's not always what you think it is.
I always tell people, if you're going to go to one of these auctions, you have to be careful. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get in trouble. Because as professionals, you've done it, I've done it, every dealer has done it.
I got burned.
Every dealer, if you haven't been burned, you're not doing it right. So every dealer has been burned going in, and you think, this is great, you get it back, you unwrap it. Oh my gosh.
Well, and
where did the lipstick go on this pig? Because this is not.
And I've also had a very wise man in the car business say, "Hey, if you don't lose money on a car occasionally, you're not doing it right." It's true because you're playing an average, and not everything makes money.
No.
And then you can go the other way with that and say, Well, there's a couple things to say. Everybody says, "What's in your collection?" Everything I can't sell. Everything I can't sell is in my collection, and then there's boy, if it would just go away and I could lose $1,000 today, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And you know how bad you messed up when you're like, if it would just go away for $5,000 loss, it'd be a great day. Because I always work with a guy who he would cut his losses before they got too big. He would cut it. He said, "I'm better off putting in something else than nursing this horrible beast around."
Right.
So not everybody's like that.
No.
There's a truck over on Shawnee Mission Parkway, and I know the gentleman who owns it, but it's been there for 10 years now, and he probably paid too much for it when he bought it. And it's a big truck with big tires on it, but it's been sitting there for 10 years, and he won't cut bait. It's time. It's so past time.
It's amazing. I've seen so many dealers.
It's time.
I know I'm gonna make it on this car. I'll get the right person.
I'll drag this around all over the country, and I'll have
maybe put some wheels on it, change something. Something will change.
Put more lipstick.
Put more lipstick on it. Somebody will come and take this one. Yeah, it's an interesting deal, but the auctions that. Having to go through all the trials and tribulations of that, and I don't think people realize how hard it is and how much experience you have to have in order to go to one of those and actually do it right.
Yeah, and let's be honest, classic sales, there's a whole front row of guys that have been doing it for a long time. And if it's a deal,
somebody's
probably and if it looks like a deal and nobody's touching it, you better look closer.
Yeah, there's usually that whole that's cheap. Yeah, it's cheap for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know it had 1 million miles on it. Now you know.
Now you know. I didn't know that the bottom was a Flintstone mobile where you had to to stop. But yes, now you do. And people have to, they go through and get that experience, and it takes a long time to get enough experience. And like we just said, so many people with experience still get hurt doing it.
Yeah, and even online stuff. Let's be honest. The reason why we're doing what we're doing is to make it a better experience, make it more secure for the person. You don't have to know everything to look for. You're paying for a gentleman to go out, or person, maybe not gentleman. I know lots of girls with lots of knowledge.
Yeah.
To go out and look at this and look at the problems, and that's what makes us different. It's a third party that's not going to lie, has no reason to lie. This person gets paid the same either way.
We're hiring them to give us an explanation of what it is so we can list it properly. So we can tell you this is what we've had somebody go out and see.
Yeah, and quite honestly, that works both ways for the seller and the buyer.
Yeah.
If we got somebody inspecting a car and they find Barney rubble underneath it, this person can tell us, and we're going to tell that person that this isn't in good shape. It needs help.
A lot of these, especially older classic cars, but that's just the way it is, and that's the way. Well, that's the way it is to you,
but that's not what I want.
Not what everybody else who's buying it is going to want.
Absolutely.
You might be used to having to get out and flip the mirror around every time you get into it.
And it might not be a big deal, and it might not be the big deal to the other guy, but
at least they know.
Like we talk about the airplane with hail damage. I don't know if you know, this week is Oshkosh, so Oshkosh turns into the biggest airport, or busiest airport in the world actually. And they had a big storm came through, and a lot of people didn't go up early because hail damage. If you have 5,000 planes on the ground, which they do, they have more than that. Their surrounding airports, there's probably 100,000 airplanes or more, because Oshkosh is a big deal. If you're they're just hot rod plane. People with planes go to Oshkosh.
Yeah.
Like we go to car shows. Right. They go to Oshkosh. And I follow a guy with a Mooney because my stepfather had a Mooney airplane. And he went to Niagara Falls. He goes, I'm just going to take a little time, and I'm going to go over to Niagara Falls, and then I'll fly in after the storm clears. So, But he put some pictures of Niagara Falls flying over it. It's really cool. But yeah, airplanes, boats. Nobody wants to have a boat with a bad hull that's wet and rotten. That doesn't work. And we're going to send a person out that knows boats and going to look at that. And not a person, they're people that do this. It's not our people.
Yeah.
But it's biased. They're going to look at it and say, well, this coffee cup is good. It's got a little sweat on it, but that's normal, and it doesn't leak, and it's got ice, and water tastes good. But basically, that's what we're going to do for somebody. We're going to send them out, and they're going to look at what's going on, and see what's going on. And that's what makes it different than the hokey pokey auction experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the auction experience is fun, and I think everybody should
Absolutely.
go check it out and see it. I mean, it is a spectacle. Some places charge money to go in and see it, and I think it's well worth spending that money to go in and see it.
Let's be honest. You know, there's some car museums around here that in the past have charged. There's one here. Let's say there's one here in town. I think he wants $25 to go,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got 20 cars in there, maybe.
Cool stuff.
Is it? You think?
Yeah, I've been through it, and it's a lot of fun. And even for that
Are we
I've
talking
done
the
this.
same one? Straight
We're
line?
pretty close, yeah. So, but I enjoyed it. But
Did you?
I enjoyed it for what it was. But I do it all the time, so it doesn't have the same luster that. But I mean,
Did
if
you pay
somebody.
$25?
Yeah. Did I get took?
I've never seen him have anything that was worth going through there for $25.
It's fun. It's fun to do it. It was a good time, but
But I've also sat in an L88 67 Corvette recently.
You and I, and people in the car business, and you and I in particular, because both of us have backgrounds where we have both been in unbelievable cars.
I'm very fortunate to have been
Unbelievable cars.
around cars that are, well, I've been in cars that are so nice and so expensive, it's nerve-wracking to be around them.
Yeah.
Just because everything about them, it costs money.
Yeah.
So if you're moving them at all, it's nerve-wracking.
It is nerve-wracking. And in the end, you have to say, it's just a car on four wheels that still goes.
And it depends where you put your values at in that situation.
Right. So we're kind of jaded in the things we look at, and it's amazing though to see some of these things in real life. But I still, sometimes you look at stuff, you're like, that's pretty cool.
I do.
That's pretty cool.
I do, and sometimes I go by a Sonic car show and I want to go in there, but I just can't. This is horrible. I'm going to say, I can't talk about people's dreams that aren't going to happen. You know, the guy who, never mind, we're not going to talk about it. It just, it's like you always see that cartoon of the car that's sitting in the back lot of somewhere and it's literally rusting into the earth. Nope, it's not for sale. I'm going to fix that up.
Yeah.
No, you're not. I can't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm too far along,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that makes me a horrible person, but I can't talk about the car that's Barney Rubble. I mean, you can see the rust jumping off it. She's going to be a Butte Clark. No. Or you also get...
And it will one day, but it's not going to be anytime soon, and you're not going to be the one doing it.
Well, and some cars are too far gone to do that.
Yeah.
It's just hard sometimes, and my love of cars is great, and it kind of probably goes back to a time and a place, and it's hard to do stuff, or when somebody
Well, the
comes out
time
and
it takes, I mean, that's an investment of thousands of hours sometimes to go through a car and to take it and rejuvenate it, make it into something that's presentable.
It's the guy who tells me he's got new radiator bearings and fresh blinker fluid put in, and it's faster than it was. I can't do that anymore. I can't do it. I got one of them flim flam V6s with a slant V8 sideways, upside down with a quad turbo with a charger, and one of them R400 transmissions. Can't do it anymore.
Yeah. But back to where we're at doing this, it's amazing that you can sit down now and be able to.
We don't let people put up flim flam.
As long as you're be able to tell people it's flim flam. That's all we want is to. Hey, this is what's going on.
2006 Dodge Viper. That's not flim flam. That's a real Dodge Viper.
Right. But as long as everybody knows that that's what it is, and that's what we want.
Got them twin Mickey Thompson street radio fighters on there. Can't do that.
Well, and a lot of times too, people get these ideas about their cars that are worth so much more. And I think we've talked about this.
I saw one sell the other day on TV for $400,000.
Yeah, mine's got to be worth that because
it's got to be worth $100. No, sir, that was a real Camaro Indy 500 pace car, 1967.
Yes.
It was on the track.
Yes.
It has paperwork. It has pictures. It has provenance.
Yes.
It's
Yours is a
real.
1982 Berlinetta with 240,000
With a
miles.
4-cylinder in it and an automatic transmission. It's not the same beast. It is not the same beast. And that's the person I'm like, no, not really. Or I've got one of those, or my favorite's always my cousin Larry.
Yeah.
And his other brother Larry. And his other brother Larry, they have a 67
Well, even if they
Camaro.
have the same, say you have a 67 Camaro, but this other one went through and it was black and it was so shiny, you're reflecting off of it from 3 miles away, and the engine is purring, literally purring when it starts up, and yours is going, it got dents all over it.
Would you do that again? I like when your face shakes when you do that.
But it's, you know, you can have the same two cars and almost look identical and park them next to each other, and there could be a huge difference in value.
We know where there's a yellow Yanko clone, and it's not a secret. It's clone. It's clone. And it's a pretty car.
Nice, beautiful car.
It's done well. Nice interior. Nice everything. It's a nice representation, and there's nothing wrong with the clone. I've never had a problem with the clone, but it's a clone.
It's a clone.
And the difference between that car of, maybe being $100,000 and a real Yanko with the same Yanko with provenance being real, it's $375,000 to $400,000.
Yeah.
And that's just
this one that's a clone is an unbelievable car, and you get it, you get the same feeling, like, oh my gosh, this thing is cool.
You would drive the clone, and you would not drive the real one.
Yeah.
I mean, you can. It just depends how big a ball.
And the funny thing is that 90% of people in the world, 95% of the people wouldn't even be able to know. They couldn't
quite
tell.
honestly, like, what's this Yanko thing mean?
Yeah, but the
it's like a Mercedes. People don't understand when it says AMG. It's a totally different beast.
Yeah,
it's a different beast.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What else about auctions?
Sometimes auctioneers get going really fast.
Yeah.
And they have to do what we call back up a train. Because they thought you were going to bid again, and you didn't. It's called a train wreck. You got to back that bad boy up.
And that's what they're doing. And when everything pauses, and everything's, they're trying to figure out where things got off the track.
A good auctioneer will do it so smoothly you won't even know what happened. And I've seen good and I've seen bad. Some of them you're like, oh wow, the cars just fell right off the track. We're never getting this bad boy going again. Let's just start back over at $10,000. I got 10, when it 12, it fell. But I've also seen them go so smoothly, and they back it up just like it was meant to be.
And you're like, wait a minute, I thought this was something else.
Yeah, and then
more than likely it was.
And then they do a neutral drop, and they're back going forward again. And you didn't even know what happened.
Yeah.
You went, beep, 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 beep. We're going forward again. Here we go. I got 35, 40,000,
So it's you got to be really, really experienced to notice those little things, those little nuances.
Yeah.
But there's some, like you said, some good ones. There's some bad ones.
Really good ones.
And even the bad ones. I mean, it's kind of fun to watch. So, and I enjoy auctioneers. I really do. There's some funny people.
Usually the young auctioneers are selling lesser items, not like memorabilia and stuff like that, and they're selling a neon sign, and their train wrecks usually go something like, the sign's worth $300-400. I got one, two, I got two over here, but two, what you do? I got seven, I got would you bid $1,000, I got $1,000 here, I got 4,000, I got 6,000, I got 7,000, 7,000. Oh wait, you're not in at 6,000? Oh, you were at 400. Oh, I guess we're gonna start this over again. Right. Would anybody bid 100? I got 100 over here. We bid 2. I got 2. You don't want to bid 2 anymore. You don't want to play this game with me at all anymore. How about 150?
Just take it home with you, please. Let's end this.
I'm gonna have to buy this now that I ran you to $6,000 and you never bid. So that happens.
Yeah, and what they do is a lot of times it's unsuspecting people that they're trying to put a deal together, like I said.
When it's moving fast, and a lot of people get caught up in trying to hear the number. Try and hear the number.
Yeah.
A long time ago, I was at a dealer sale, and it was a Corvette, and I was out there. Nobody else was really. There was a couple other guys there, and I was willing to pay for the car. It was a nice car, and I was 19, and the auctioneer was a world-class auctioneer at one time, and unfortunately he had a stroke, and he wasn't nearly the auctioneer he was, and I knew him. He was a guy I knew, and he saw that the guy wanted 22, so he tried to put me at 22, and I'm like, no, I said 19. I said there's nobody else here bidding, And he said, well, yeah, you did. I said, no. I said, where are we at when you said 21 or 22? And there was a discussion there. I said, we'll go in there and talk to the bosses and powers that be. And he goes, that's fine. And so I went in there and I talked to not the big boss. And he was defending the auctioneer, and I appreciate that. I hate what happened to him, and it sucked. But he wasn't being clear. And he told me, he goes, this is a big boy game. And I said, and that's why you're sitting in the office? And he got really mad at me. I said, no. I said, run back the tapes. Let's do this. Let's see what happens.
That's always fun when you gotta go back and see the
I
proof.
I said, look at it. And I said, I'll come back in 20 minutes. I gotta go buy their cars. And I went back to the big boss's office, and I came to the door. He goes, I'm sorry. He goes, it shouldn't have happened. He goes, we're gonna rerun it. I'm sorry. That shouldn't have happened. And I said, I don't want to be that. I said, the guy's a nice guy, but you can't let him. You can't. He can't do it anymore.
Everybody has to be on their toes in these auctions because they just come after you.
Yeah, they will. They will if they can.
If you don't know it's coming.
I went back out and bought the car for $19,500. Pretty red Corvette. It's good. I sold it 2 days later. It's good.
Yeah. But yeah, if you don't know what's coming, somebody will run you over.
He told me, he goes, it's a big boy game. And I said, that's why you're sitting in the office? Pissed me off. Dick.
But,
so yeah, you gotta be aware, and you gotta be aware of anything that happens in this life. You know, people say, hey, you're not safe anywhere, and this, that, and the other.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean,
you gotta be aware. You gotta be aware.
Always double check.
Gotta use your best tools.
Trust but verify. Wise man once told me,
Yeah.
trust but verify.
Yeah,
and you have to be able to get the information to verify.
Use all the tools you can. That's part of Powerbidding.com. It's the third
We
party.
want to give everybody all the tools.
We want all the pictures, everything we can tell you about this car.
Carfax reports, the whole kit and caboodle, whatever we can give you. We want everybody to be on the same page.
Let's be honest about a Carfax report. If you don't know how to read a Carfax report, it could look
That's
horrible.
a whole nother episode we could get into.
Yeah, absolutely. We should talk about Carfax. It's a wonderful tool, but it also says just about the same thing if it had a key scratch in it.
Yeah.
And a key scratch doesn't make a car totaled by any means. But we'll do another podcast on the Carfax. All
the reports. But it's still, any information is good information that you
gotta know how to use the tools.
You gotta know how to use the tools to make a proper decision and adjust values accordingly to where you want to be. And how much is that car or boat or motorcycle, how much is it worth to you with said discrepancy?
And here at Powerbidding.com, we're going to help a person try to sell the car. Figure that out too.
Yeah, there's like we said, all these people that they feel, it's a scratch, but other people don't want that scratch.
Yeah. It was scratched by a Mack's truck.
Right.
That's the wrong scratch. A key scratch from a kid's bicycle is a total different thing, and if it's repaired.
Yeah. So everybody's got to understand that their car isn't the.
My favorite thing to tease about is, it was a little accident. It caught on fire. And we were rolling it down to the pond to put it out. But we hit a tree which bent the frame before we got it into the pond to put it out. But we've straightened that all out now.
It's fine now. It's fine
Did you get all the pond smell out of it? It's just a joke I like to tell.
Yeah. Well, should we wrap it up today?
Let's do it. Let's wrap it up.
Oh, I think
they're still here.
They are still here. They still love us. They're appreciating our hard work into this.
Yeah. I think my wife wants me to make her dinner, so I probably ought to get home.
All right. Thanks,
Bryan.
Bye-bye.